Hello everyone, my name is Vania Elshadania and I am going to discuss about English syntax and English words structure and the meaning. There are two main things that are going to be discussed in this video. The first one is English syntax and the second one is English words, the structure and then the meaning. Now we are going to start from English syntax. First of all, what is English syntax actually? English syntax refers to the rules governing how words are combined to form phrases, clauses, and sentences. This means English syntax is what makes we're trying to say understandable to other people, or when other people trying to say anything to us, it is understandable. Syntax is some kind of rules to convey the meaning. In English syntax, we have several things that are going to be discussed as well. The first one is formal versus notional definition. And then the second one, word classes and phrase, which consists of noun phrase and verb phrase. The third one is clause and sentences, which consists of main and subordinate clauses, and then the clause function. We are going to discuss about formal definitions first. So what is formal definition? Formal definitions focus on specific characteristics of a grammatical construction. According to construction grammarians, language consists of syntax, semantics, and pragmatics, which interrogate form and meaning in standardized ways. For instance, words in English are seen in a perspective where the words can be pluralized by adding s on the end of the words. For example, the word cat and cats. You know, the cat is only one when it doesn't have s on the end of the word. But you know, it is more than one cat if the word cat is added s on the end of the word. Second one is notional definition. Notional definitions define constructions in terms of general qualities that the nouns possess. Basically, notional alone means exist or can be defined as abstract as well. In conclusion, nouns are seen as anything: person, animal, place, thing, or even an idea. Cat is a noun because it is an animal, it exists. In the scope of modern linguistics, it prefers formal over notional because it provides better meaning in terms of identifying constructions rather than notional descriptions. Moving on to the second topic in this video, it is word classes and phrase. There are four main word classes in English language. They are noun, verb, adjective, and adverb. We are going to only discuss the four main word classes. We actually have more than these, but we are going to focus on these four only. The first one is noun. Noun can be defined as things that exist physically or not physically. There are a lot of things around us and they are nouns. Even us, people, are also nouns, considered as nouns. Physical nouns, for example, for the example, is apple. You can see apple, you can touch it, you can feel it. But there are also nouns that cannot be seen by our eyes. It exists, but you just cannot see it. For the example, idea. You cannot see it, but you know it is there. The second is verb. Verb expresses action, state of being, or a relation between two things in a sentence. Verb has three forms. They are verb 1, verb 2, and then verb 3. For the example, you can see the verb eat, ate, and eaten. Eat here is the verb 1, ate belongs to the verb 2, and then eaten belongs to verb 3. Talking about verb forms, it also has two more types. If we look at how we are going to pair with the subject, they are transitive verb and an intransitive verb. Transitive verb is a verb that requires direct object to be completed. Meanwhile, intransitive verb is a verb that does not require direct object. In the case where we want to change a sentence, an active sentence, into passive sentence, the intransitive verb cannot be used in passive sentence since it does not include object. So whenever you found a sentence that is using the intransitive verb, you cannot change it into the passive form. As for the examples, for the transitive verb first, you can see there the sentence I chopped down a tree, and then you can change it into passive sentence because the verb here has relation to a tree. It's a state of being, it's an activity, an action. And then you can change it into passive. A tree was chopped down by me. Meanwhile, in intransitive verb, you can see the sentence there. She fell in love with him, but you cannot change it into him. He is or he was fallen in love by her with. It doesn't make any sense. So, in conclusion, only change sentence that is using transitive verb. But remember, you can't change intransitive verb, which is being used in a sentence. The third one is adjectives, which act as a modifier to a noun, basically giving more information or details about the noun. As you can see, there is a phrase, small apple. You know how big the size of the apple because there is an adjective describing how big is the apple. But unfortunately here the apple is small according to the adjectives. The last one is adverbs, which act as a modifier to a verb. For example, the phrase there, eat excessively. Excessively means something that is actually out of normal, the scope of normal. So basically, it excessively means that you're overeating. If you use this phrase to someone, it means that the person is overeating. In addition, adverb can actually modify adjectives and adverb itself. For instance, the phrase very tall, very here belongs to the adverb, and then tall here belongs to the adjective. And then for adverb modifying adverb, you can see in the phrase extremely dramatically. Now let's talk about phrase. Phrase has two types. They are verb phrase and noun phrase. But before we get into those two, we have to know what is a phrase. Phrase is a group of words without subject and verb. Verb is usually combined to form a clause. For the example, the white bird. The white bird. It's a phrase. It's not sentence or a clause. It's just a phrase. Now, let's get into those two types. Phrase has two main types. The first one we're going to discuss is the noun phrase. Noun phrase is a group of words headed by a noun that includes a modifier. The modifier here, as you can see there, the modifier the, an, and a. And then the nouns are boy, apple, and cat. Next one, the verb phrase. A verb phrase consists of a main verb and any auxiliary verbs. In these examples, the verb phrases are highlighted. The first one is I painted the fence. Now, you must be wondering, where is the auxiliary verbs? Now, actually, Here, the verb phrase is a single main verb. If we see the second example, I was painting the fence. Was and painting are highlighted. As you can see there, the verb phrase is the auxiliary verb was, the past form of is, and a main verb in the form of a present progressive, painting. So was painting is a verb phrase. We have talked about nouns, we have talked about verbs, adjectives, adverb, phrase, and phrases. Now we're going to talk about clause and sentence. First, we have to know what is a clause, because clause is what makes a sentence. Clause is a group of words with subject and verb, but without punctuation. And then clause is divided into two types, independent or the main clause, and dependent, the subordinate clause. Clause can actually be a sentence if it is an independent clause. And if you put a punctuation, it becomes a sentence. Independent clause means it can stand alone, and it can be a sentence just like I've said. For example, she needs to sleep. Here, it is clear that she needs to sleep. Meanwhile, dependent clause means it cannot stand alone, meaning that it cannot be a sentence even with punctuation, because usually dependent clause is followed by subordinating conjunction. For example, since she feels drowsy. If you want to make this as a sentence, it is not completed because it has subordinating conjunction. Now, if you pay close attention to these clause, since she feels drowsy, the clause, if you want to make the sentence, it's kinda leaving us hanging. So it doesn't make any sense if you say since she feels drowsy is a sentence. Now, we can put these two clauses to the side and we're going to discuss sentence. Sentence is a group of words with subject, verb, and punctuation, the proper one, of course. Sentence is divided into two types of sentences. The first one is complex and compound. Complex sentence is made up from two different clauses and combined using subordinating conjunctions. Now, if you remember the clauses before, we can use these two clauses to make a complex sentence, since the dependent sentence there already has a subordinating conjunction. Example, she needs to sleep, and since she feels drowsy, we can combine them together to create a complete complex sentence. We have two options here. Since she feels drowsy, she needs to sleep. Or you can say she needs to sleep. She needs to sleep since she feels drowsy. On the other hand, compound sentence is made up from two independent clauses and connected by using coordinating conjunction. For the example, I can cook and she can bake. We combine them using the coordinating conjunction. So it will become I can cook and she can bake. As you can see there is the sentence, the compound sentence. The last part of the first topic in this video is the clause function. What is the function of a clause? Now, like I've said before, clause can be a sentence if it's the independent clause. It's a simple sentence on its own actually. And then clause functions as the part of a larger sentence like compound and complex sentence. Clause, you can consider clause as a building block for constructing a sentence, because clause, just like the examples before, you can combine them just like a building block. Clause conveys information about the subject or object functioning as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb as well. Now that we have finished the first part, we're going to move to the second part of this video. It is discussion of English words, the structure and the meaning. In English words, the study of word structure is called morphology. Now, understanding word structure helps us to improve spelling and then expand our vocabulary. Root words are words or part of words that can actually stand alone. The following are all root words. You can see on the picture: elbow, fast, and nudge. Most root words can be changed in various ways by adding additional elements to them. As you can see there, elbow becomes elbows, the plural form of elbow. Fast becomes faster, a comparative form of fast. You can use this in a comparative sentence. And then nudge, if you place D on the end of the word, it becomes the past tense. Each of those examples have been altered by adding an element at the end. The elements at the end, namely as, er, and ed, cannot stand alone. These elements are called suffixes. Now, sometimes elements are added to the beginning of word. It is called as prefixes. You can see the examples of the words that have been added prefixes. Expose becomes underexpose. Appear becomes disappear. Take becomes overtake, and event becomes non-event. When we add suffix or prefix to a word, we create a new word sometimes. This process is called as a derivation. You can see there in the picture, there are two words, appear and appearance. Although they have the same root word, but in the terms of word classes, they are different. The first is a verb, appear. Second is a noun, appearance. Their meanings and uses in sentences are different as well. In a dictionary, we would have to look them up separately, even though they have a common root word, just like I've said. And then sometimes when we add suffix, but we don't create a new word at all, this process is called inflections. Now, inflections, there is a word cat, right? And then you add s on the end of the word. Then the meaning doesn't change. It is still a cat, an animal, but the only thing changed there is the nominal, how many the cats are. When words are built from a common root word or a common ancestor in history, often a Latin word, we call the group of words a word family. Now, for the example of word family, there are grammatical, grammatically, ungrammatical, and ungrammatically. The terms of these words are built from a common root word, grammar. This word family includes a noun, adjectives, and adverbs. Now, after you know about the structure in English language, you have to know the meaning, how the meaning is conveyed as well. When it comes to defining the meaning in English, we have two types of way of defining, pragmatically and grammatically. They are both different, of course. Pragmatic meaning means solving problems in a sensible way that suits the conditions that really exist now, rather than obeying fixed theories, ideas, or rules. Basically, the meaning in English word, phrase, sentence, and sentence are conveyed based on the context that is accepted in the society. For example, when someone says, "It's freezing here," it is another way to say it's cold. Freezing refers to the condition where something can immediately turn into solid ice below its freezing point. But it does not mean when someone says that. So when someone says it's freezing here, it doesn't mean that the weather will turn them into ice. But it's just another way to say it's cold in certain area. However, in grammatical meaning means that the meaning is taken directly from the word, the phrases, the clauses, and the sentences, depending on the grammar that is being used too. For example, you can see there is a sentence, "I am listening to Chess Atlantic." If we want to pay close attention on each words, the word I refers to me, the person. Yeah, I wrote that, so just consider that I here is me. For the person, I is the person, the doer. Meanwhile, the word am is a to be. And then listening as the verb in a present continuous tense, the present progressive, marking that the action of listen is happening at the moment of speaking. And the last, Chess Atlantic is a noun, it's a phrase. Chess Atlantic is a name of a band. Now when I say I am listening to Chess Atlantic, meaning that the moment when I say that, I am actually listening to the music from this band. Although I am not doing it right now, but just think about it when I say that. At that moment, I am listening to the music from this group. Moving on to the morpheme. Morpheme is a way how a word is constructed, and then morpheme is the smallest unit of meaning. All words are composed of one or more morphemes. For example, human is a person, a mortal. But when we add the suffix et to form an abstract noun expressing state, condition, or a quality, that is the use of suffix et, it creates humanity. That means the quality or state of being human. In morphemes, it has two different types. They are free morphemes and bound morphemes. Free morphemes is usually referred as the base which affix can attach to, meaning that it can stand alone, such as the word love. So word is also morphemes, like the definition before I have given. However, bound morpheme is different because it cannot stand alone and must be attached to another morpheme. For example, if we add suffix ly, to the word love, it becomes lovely. So li here is a bound morpheme, and then we have to attach it to another morpheme is love, so it becomes lovely. Love here is a verb, and then lovely here is an adjective. Talking about morphemes, we have inflectional and derivational morphemes too. So inflections is considered as one of the types of grammatical morpheme. Yeah, and it can only be suffixes. For example, as you can see there, the suffix s. First we have the word love. Love here is a verb, and then without s, you can use it to the plural subject. And then if you add s, it will be used to singular subject. The second one, dance car. Here, the s and then before the S we add apostrophe, it becomes a possessive, a mark as a possessiveness. And then the last one of S is to make the noun becomes plural. And then there is a suffix ing. We make the verb there, take, becomes taking. We are taking this cap. So taking here is a verb form of present progressive. The next one is the suffix ed. So you can see there we pushed the box. Pushed here is a past participle, a past form of push. We add ed to change it into verb 2. And then painted is also past participle of paint. I have painted this. And then the suffix er, loud, becomes louder. It is a comparative word. It's a word that you use in comparative sentence. And then the last one, loudest, you use that on superlative sentence. The reflectional morphemes. It portrays other differences from inflectional morpheme. While inflectional morphemes can only be suffixes, the reflectional morpheme can be prefixes or suffixes, and it can change the meaning of the word or its word classes. Like I've shown you before, appear and appearance. Or cover becomes uncover. So cover means you block something with another thing. And meanwhile, uncover is you take the cover away. Now you can see that two words on the picture, connect and connection. Connect here is a verb, and then connection here is a noun. So adding the suffix I, O, and N, ion, it changes the word connect, which is originally a verb. It becomes a noun. Okay everyone, we have come to the end of this video. I hope that my explanation is simple enough for you to understand English syntax and English word, the structure and the meaning. And yeah, thank you for paying attention. Goodbye.